Yep, it's starting.
Okay. So I'm presenting events in JavaScript. So I created an example that I'll share with you guys in a Google Drive or whatever. But the first one I'm going to show you is the onTouch start function, and this function only works if you're on mobile. So the first thing I did on this page is I checked to see if the user's on mobile, and there's a lot of ways you can do that. If you look down here, I just did is mobile, and I just listed iPhone, iPad, iPod, Android, because those are the most common. But you can definitely do like a more extensive list, and there's other ways to go about doing that as well. So the first thing I do is I say if they're on mobile, then display at the top of the screen that they're on mobile. If they're on desktop, then I'll also display at the top of the screen. And then I have a picture that'll show up. And if you touch the picture, this will only work if you're on mobile, but if you touch the picture, it'll call this tap function, which just says that you tap the picture. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is the page I made. So since I'm on desktop, it says you are using desktop. So clicking the image will do nothing. So if I click it, it won't do anything because it's an on-touch function. But what I actually found out today is that in Google Chrome, if you go to Developer Tools, I don't know if I clicked that. There it is. There's actually a handy little tool right here that'll let you imitate a mobile device, and it'll trick the browser into thinking you're on mobile. So it's kind of good for debugging, because we should be making our devices, or we should be making our web pages for like mobile devices, since that's what most people use nowadays. Anyway, so you activate that, and it'll do a mobile screen, so you can do touches instead. So now when I refresh the page, it sees that I'm using a mobile device. So now I can actually touch the element, which is the picture. So when I touch it, then that message comes up that I tapped the picture. So does that make sense with the on-touch function? Any questions about that?
Yeah, can you show the code again?
Yeah.
So var is mobile. So, okay, wait, where you said iPhone, iPad, iPod, Android, that thing, is that where you're telling it to look for a mobile device?
Right.
Okay.
So it'll load, this is in the script at the bottom of the HTML file
Right.
that I have. So it'll load this first thing. So the first thing it does is it checks is mobile, and it'll check to see if it's any of those. And so this is going to be true. Is mobile is going to equal true if it's a mobile device.
Okay, got it.
So then the next thing it'll do is it'll do this if statement, is mobile, and then it inserts this if you are using mobile, or this if it doesn't see that you're using a mobile device.
Cool. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Okay. And like I said, there's like a lot of different ways you can go about doing this mobile check. I thought this was the simplest, so that's why I did that one.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
Okay. Any other questions about the on-touch start? Okay. So the next function that I'm going to go over is on key press. Let me get off mobile. So on key press, what it does is it checks to see if you're pressing any keys, and anytime you press a key, it'll run this function. So I have the on key press function is in this input element, that input bar that I have right here. So it's going to listen for a key press. So anytime you press a key in there, you can have it do a function. So I'm having it do this is number key function, which is right here. And so basically this right here is just checking to see if it's a number. So I included all the different, these are all the ones for just text, not the numbers. So if it's text, then I have the message pop up, please type numbers. If it is numbers, then I just have that message go away, so they know they're typing the right thing. So if I type numbers, it works fine. But if I type a letter, it will it'll come up with this message, please type numbers. Oh, I guess, yeah. So that's how the on-key press function works. Do you guys have any questions about that one?
No, I don't think so.
So the next function is the onload function. And this, you can have it, like on W3 schools, it said you can put onload in a picture, like an image element. So I have this like really large image that I'm trying to load, and then I say onload, call this function. So as soon as that image is done loading, it'll call this function, which just alerts you that the image is loaded. But you could do this for other things as well, like cookies. So you could say, once the page is done loading, check to see if they have cookies. A lot of people use it for that. It's like a lot of times, like if you have the script at the bottom of your HTML file, it's gonna call everything anyways. Like it's gonna run through all these anyways. But there's like some instances where you might need to say, when this is done loading, load that. But anyways, just testing it. Like I noticed, see this image, the pop-up will come up before the image is actually done. And then I click it, and then it'll
And it
finish.
finishes. Oh, that's
Yeah.
weird.
And I honestly have no idea why it's doing that.
I wonder if like there's a difference between loading it and displaying it. Like that your image was already loaded, but it hadn't displayed fully. So that's why it
Right.
popped up.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe it was that, like as soon as the image started to load, then it'll pop up.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know.
so, but you can also use that, like if you want certain things to load first, you can kind of control like what will be loaded. That
Yeah.
way. Yeah, I've never really used onload just because it's better to use Ajax. Have you guys used that at all yet?
No, I haven't.
Ajax is where like when you interact with the web page, it won't redirect you to a new page. It'll just manipulate what's on the page using JavaScript.
Oh.
So you definitely want to try to use that whenever you can instead of like having to load new pages. And then the last JavaScript function that I did was onClick, and you guys probably already use this because you use it for buttons a lot. Like when you click a button, you have it do a function. So here you just click it and it comes with a little alert. You click the button. And here's the code for that. So in the button element, you just put onClick, and then you call a function. I'm calling my button. So then you go down here to script, my button, it just does this alert. And I kind of did a basic example for that. I wish I had like a better example for onClick, because you could do it for a lot of other stuff. Like if they click a new link or something like that, you can have alerts come up and stuff of that nature. I guess since we have time, I'm gonna show you a quick example of like Ajax and using onClick to have stuff display in the page immediately instead of re-navigating. Let's see what that means. Splinter. One second.
While you're finding that, I just Googled the unload thing. And
Yeah.
on like W3 schools, their examples, it's doing the exact same thing where it's like the alert is popping up before the page is actually loading. So the same thing's happening there too.
Huh. Yeah, I've never used onload for anything because there's other ways to going about managing that. but I don't know. He listed it as one of the things you have to teach. So, and I think it's kind of, I think onload might be a little outdated. I think there's better ways to do stuff like that.
Probably.
But I mean, everyone uses like Express and jQuery and whatnot. So there
Yeah.
are ways to do that. Found it here. This is a web page I made. It searches Google's book library to find all the books they have that are free. So I used OnClick for this. So this is because you can search for stuff, but if you want to like kind of narrow down a search, then you can click that. So I had OnClick, and then I did insert inner HTML, and I inserted this. So instead of loading like a new page, you just do OnClick.
Nice.
Yeah. Any questions about that?
I don't have any.
Okay. Yeah, so that's all I had for that. Do you guys have any questions in general?
I think it all made sense to me. I yeah, I just I just hadn't seen the mobile one before. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually didn't know about that either. Yeah, and you could use like, I guess you could use like onload, and you can do like check to see if it's mobile and then hide stuff that's like for mobile only, you know?
Oh yeah,
Or if
that's
there's
true.
stuff that would only work good on desktop, you can hide it so it only shows on desktop. So that's
Yeah.
kind of like one way you could use onload, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point. Cool. Do you want me to stop the recording?
Yeah.
Okay.